What's up guys, welcome to Daily Refinement. Today I'm going to talk about the worst reselling day ever. So please smash the like button, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys inside. All right guys, we're inside. I want to talk about 5 things that would make the worst reselling day ever. I'm going to go over the 5 first and then go into each one in detail and how to fix it. So number 1 would be can't find anything at the thrift. So we talk about in the group finding items that are $20 profit and more after all fees. So can't find any of those, that would be number 1. Number 2 would be don't have enough space. Number 3, don't have enough time or your listings are taking way too long. Number 4, your sales are slower than normal. And number 5, you don't have enough money to buy new inventory. I would say those 5 components would ruin your reselling day, and it's like a common thing that I keep getting emails about. So let's go into them one by one. Number 1, you can't find anything at the thrift. So in the group, we talk about sharpening your Rolodex every single day. So when you go out, learn new brands. When I first started, a home run for me, so like I would be jumping up and down if I found one $20 profit item. At this point in my career though, literally I can find thousands of $20 profit items because I'm really specific in what I sell. And at this point, after 10 years of developing relationships and suppliers and knowing more about my niche, I'm confident I can go to any thrift store and find $20 profit items no matter where I am at. And I'm only limited by my time. So number 2 would be you don't have enough space. So for some reason, I like to buy like right at my capacity in bulk and then shrink it back down to about half. And I need to stop doing that. You should keep at least 1/3 of your space open. So I recommend not doing what I do and always busting at the seams every time I get a new order. Essentially, like I'm just for some reason the type of person that always bites off more than they can chew by just a tiny bit. I like eat about 3% more than I'm supposed to, and it gives me a tummy ache instead of just eating like the Japanese and the Okinawa specifically, who talk about eating until you're 80% full. If I did that, I would never have any issues and I'd never have a reseller stomach ache. So just try to keep your spending under control and the space that you have. If you have a smaller space, you have to sell more expensive stuff. There's no other way around it. Number 3 is that the things are taking way too long. Your listing takes too long, your photos take too long. If you're in a situation where things are taking longer than expected, what you need to do is to time all your processes. Let us know in the group exactly why it's taking you so long. Film yourself doing it, and we can go into your process and start removing certain steps to make it easier. You can also only do what you can do. So as an example, I had a show a couple of weeks ago where I sold 1,900 items, but I did not have the capacity to fulfill 1,900 items. I fulfilled 1,800 items in one day, and it took me 2 weeks to fulfill the final 100 orders because they weren't ready. The way I set up my warehouse, I was selling things on that stream that were not ready to be sold yet, and it took a long time to get those ready. And finally, 2 weeks later, I finally got the remainder of those orders out. Do not do that. Do not oversell your capacity. If I had just sold 1,500 items, I would have 100% happy customers because they would have gone out in one day. So don't oversell what you can fulfill. Don't buy too many items that you can't list and photograph. Just go at your appropriate pace. Next would be your sales are slower than normal. And this is happening right now because we're coming out of summer slowdown. So people have been panicking for the last 3 or 4 months because their sales are not where they want to be. And I want to give you guys this story. When I used to work at Lexus, they sell most of their cars October, November, December. They have a promotion called December to Remember, and that's when they sell a big chunk of their cars all year. It's just in the month of December. So a lot of salespeople, what they'll do is they'll live like December all year, and they're always broke. They always don't have enough money. But my sales manager told me you need to live like June, which is the slowest month. Those are your bills. And then in the other months, especially when it's busy, that month just goes into your savings account so that you can have extra money when sales are slow. What happens with resellers is they get super cocky and they overbuy whenever they have great sales. So let's say you had your biggest month ever. You also, the next month, have your biggest spending month ever. Don't do that. You want to spend the same amount year round, in my opinion. So if you're spending $5 on 10 new items every single day and you keep doing that, I would do that all year. And if you're worried about having slow sales, then you got to be really, really aware of what items you're buying in that season. So buy really, really good summer items in the summer, really great items in the winter, the best you can. But again, I am still of the theory that you should do a blended option. I sell jackets year round, I sell sweaters year round, I sell dresses year round. And I know that they're seasonal, but I know people are looking for those all year. And as long as I find great stuff, they'll still sell even though they are not in the current season. So to give you an idea, when sales are slower than normal, I want you to be able to pay your bills. So that's why I base everything now on the slowest possible day. I used to do the average until we had our podcast last week, and Tech said you should average your sales, base everything off of the worst possible day. This is why the video is called the worst possible reselling day. So for me, to pay my Poshmark bills, I need $336 a day because I have a full-time employee. Their salary is like $1,000 a week. So to pay their salary and to pay for the 30 items that go into the store, I have to have a minimum $336 a day to break even. And for me, that's 10 sales. 10 sales times $35 or higher is $350. That would pay the bills. That would keep the lights barely on. So to sell 10 minimum doesn't mean that you sell 10 maximum. A lot of people are listing 10 hoping to sell 10. That's not really how it works. We're listing 30 to hoping to sell 10. So on a bad day, we sell 10, the bills are still on. On a great day, we make a lot. So you want to make sure that on a bad day, you are still paying your bills. Now, my Whatnot operation is a lot more intense. To keep the lights on for my Whatnot, it costs $5,480 a day. That's a lot. That's like $2 million a year just to keep the lights on. So just to make my first dollar, I have to do $5,481 in sales. It's a lot of pressure. I don't know who said this, but I really am a proponent of this, which is pressure is a privilege. I think it is like an honor to be able to have that much responsibility where people are relying on me, suppliers are relying on me. There's so many bills that get paid. $5,480 goes to other people before I get my first dollar. So that is the worst possible day. Has to be that. So in all the days I've been doing Whatnot, I've never had a day lower than my basic bills. And our objective is actually like 12,000 a day. So 5,480 would be break even, but all of the things set up in the shop are so we can do 12,000 a day. So even on a horrible day where everything went wrong, the internet was down, people were sick, supply was broken, we got a flood, we're still gonna do more than $5,480 a day because we're set up to do 12. Okay, finally, don't have enough money to buy inventory. This is a huge one. So a couple of things are happening. One, you are probably overbuying so that you're buying more than the items that are actually selling. If you're just buying one, selling one, buying two, selling two, buying four, selling four, you'll never run out of money. You always have plenty of money to buy inventory. It's when you're trying to grow that's expensive. So people who are trying to grow end up spending all the profit they made on previous items on new items, and they have nothing left to live on. That's why my advice is unpopular, but I recommend you get a part-time or a full-time job until your store is big enough that the bad day pays your bills. Hopefully that makes sense, but until you're at that point, you're always gonna be panicking and running these crazy sales to make enough money to pay your bills, and that's not the right way to operate. For me, on the worst possible day, I can still pay my bills, and I set it up that way. You gotta have goals big enough so that when things don't go as planned, ideally, you're still saving money. Your plans are so big that even if something happens to you, it won't throw you off track. So really, really important, create an emergency fund of at least 6 months. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm trying to get to the point where I have 1 year of expenses in case I don't make a single sale. I can still open the entire year. That's pretty much impossible at this point, but imagine no revenue coming in for an entire year and you can still float your building, your staff, your cost of goods. You can still buy even though you're not making any sales. That's how profitable and how safe you are with your savings rate. It makes a tremendous difference in your business. So hopefully this is useful, guys. Everything about my channel is prevention. So we're trying to prevent the worst day from happening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, make progress daily.